Thanks again for staying with us on the Ultimate News and Current Affairs program on television, TMI. Beautiful Monday morning. Of course, this weekend on the 2nd of September is a Saturday. The state will be going into local government elections. Local government election in Nigeria has a very, very rich and interesting history. And today on the show, we'll be looking at that history. Will that history be repeating itself in Edo State in this local government election? There's a big question that's been on the lips of everyone. And so, looking at the lessons from the past, against the background of how local government election has been in recent times, in recent years, with people calling for either scrapping of local government outrightly, or some are saying, perhaps we can rejig it by doing something about the processes involved in the election of the chairman for local government council or the administrators at the local government level. Some of the questions will be put forward today. We have here in the studio civil society activist, human rights lawyer, Barrister St. Michael Egwaugi. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Moni. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, we're on this platform again, and this time we're talking about local government election with particular reference to the forthcoming Edo State local government election taking place on the 2nd. Barring last-minute challenge or challenges as the case may be, ETSEC, Edo State Independent Electoral Commission, is confident, is ready to go ahead with Saturday's election. But what are your what are your concerns, if there are any?
I don't have any particular concern, nor that I can think of at the moment. You know that local government plays a pivotal role in our administration.
Okay.
The drafters of the Constitution thought it wise, to bifurcate the government into three. The federal government, the state government, as well as the local government, so as to bring governance, closer to the people, so as to effectively accentuate, the provisions of Section 14, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, which provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of governance. But unfortunately, the local government in Nigeria, has been completely taken over and hijacked, by the various governors of the 36 states, such that that arm of government, that tier of government, have become an appendage of the state government, perhaps because the state governors have a pecuniary interest, in the allocation coming to the various local governments. And that explains why, some governors, they can afford, to administer, the state and administer that section of the state without conducting election. Edo State is not an exception. We know that for more than 18 months now, the 18 local governments in Edo State have been without an elected administrative head.
Yeah.
It has been like that. The man, in his infinite wisdom, and benevolence, have decided, to conduct election, and that is why ETSEC, woke up from their slumber, and they are conducting election on Saturday. And going by what have, been, taking place historically, I don't say anything, different. The political party of the governor has always had sway, in all the 36, states of the federation.
Okay.
In our state, it was the same thing, during 1999 to 2003. Even when Oshomole was there, it was 18/18. This time I still expect 18 over 18. One party, that is the party of the governor, will just sweep everywhere. That is going to be the case. We are not seeing anything different.
Okay. Are there lessons we can learn from the recently conducted presidential election in Edo State specifically, where we saw parties beyond or outside the ruling party in the state winning House of Assembly, even winning, a senatorial seat? These are supposed to be pointers to the fact that the level of political consciousness and awakening is high, or is improving.
The level of political consciousness has increased tremendously.
Okay.
Such that the lowest of the people in the society are not interested in how government is administered in our society. You go to beer parlor these days, what you hear them discussing is politics. You go to newspaper stand, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Even you go to the market these days, you hear market women, discussing, about politics and, government. Government has done that, government has not done this. And that, played a pivotal role in February this year, where a party that was not, expected, to perform, took everybody, by surprise.
Okay.
I think they produced the senator for Edo South, senatorial district.
Okay.
That is unprecedented in the political history of Edo State.
Yeah.
Whether we are going to expect a repeat of that in this, local government election, is what I'm not sure of.
Okay. We'll just quickly, via a WhatsApp call, connect with Bob Manuel Umoru, who is actually supposed to join us via Zoom, but we're having a bit of a technical challenge to get him to talk to us a bit more on his perspectives on the forthcoming local government election in Edo State. Bob Manuel, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Edo people.
Okay. So share your thought with us on your expectations on the local government elections. Are there lessons to be learned from the past?
For now, there are no lessons to be learned. If you check, local government administration in Nigeria has been in its poorest form.
Okay.
And looking at the antecedents of local government election, not just in Edo State, in Nigeria as a whole, you will agree with me that what is going to happen on the 2nd of September is just a repetition of the normal that the people are used to. Election but selection. And my party is in charge of organizing the next one, and there is nothing much to expect than the usual way. In the time of Governor Adams Osomole, he sat in Benin and wrote names of who becomes and who doesn't become. You shouldn't expect anything from Governor Gordon Obaseki also. Again, in the history of Edo State, this is the worst government as far as local government administration is concerned. So there are no much expectation, but the usual announcing of names as it used to be. And then that gives you the reason why those local governments across the nation do not perform. So no much expectation. And of course, days ago, there was a ruling from not just a ruling, there was the court in Abuja declined the request from APC, and don't forget the legacy also went to court, and this matter are still subsidized. And the election will go on, but perhaps maybe after when the judges sit on the case, they can overrule or allow it to be. But it's not an election that we will say is going to be a free. It's going to be a free or fair affair. No, it's a selection process, and the process will definitely be.
How do you justify that statement? Yes, how do you justify that statement, Bob Manuel Moro? How do you justify that statement when political parties and their candidates are campaigning massively and heavily. The PDP, the ruling party, is campaigning. I mean, they have their billboards everywhere. They're having campaign rallies, local government by local government, and at the central level is the same thing that is going on. The APC is also campaigning with their candidate, and even the Labour Party, which has emerged as the third force in Nigeria politics, is also campaigning massively with their candidates at the chairmanship level and at the councillorship level. Shouldn't we see this as pointers to the fact that things could just be done differently this time around?
Let me take us back again. During the time of Governor Adams Oshomole, let me use, I think it's Esan Northeast, Uromi. Okay. Esan Northeast, I think, yeah. Okay. Everybody campaign across 18 local governments. Yes. Elections were still going on. People have not even, 30% have not been conducted. Result was announced. Okay. It did not campaign until the government at the national, at the center, go back to reform the local government and address the issues in the constitution. Local government election will still be a child's play. All of what is happening now is just the normal jamboree. In case you want to go to court, I want to go to court. We all campaigned, we all did this, but it is still the usual way. We have been campaigning before. We have to come back home and sit down. Again, who run the local government? Who gives the ruling as to if this person has won or this has not won? The same head check that is still under the control on the wings and capacities of the state executive. Definitely, you can't be an umpire in your own case. So if we think there's going to be a shift, if we think there's going to be a shift in the way elections are conducted or done, as far as local government is concerned, then we have to borrow a leaf from Kaduna State government that granted autonomy even when there was no autonomy at the national level.
Okay. Okay, we saw some semblance of how a multi-party election should be at the just recently concluded presidential election, where in Edo State, Labour Party, for example, won a seat in the State House of Assembly. They also won one of the senatorial districts in Edo State. I mean, shouldn't this count in this conversation?
I'll give you my local government, for example, now. If what happened February and March repeat itself in Edo State, I'm seeing the Labour Party winning, not just winning, I'm seeing them winning my own local government. The strongest candidate on ground today is the Labour Party in my local government. But by the end of the second, you will hear the result. If this election was under the jurisdiction of INEC, I can guarantee free and fair to a level, but under the control of ETSEC, there is nothing the people should expect. There is nothing. But if it happens, it's not going to be a testimony. Then you and I can run to the church and give testimony. The electoral system, as far as local government is concerned, in Edo State, there is a shift. But until that happens, for me, I am not, like I told you, I'm not expecting anything. And I don't want Edo people, you see, expectation gives birth to more animosity and then built-in crisis, like we are facing at the national level now. The people should not lose hope in the system, but they should not expect much until we reject the system. Until there is a constitutional conference that accepts that the local government, being the third tier of governance, should be granted full autonomy, and that INEC should be in charge of that election. That is what we begin to get. INEC.
The same INEC you're talking about, but Manuel, just hold on for a second. The same INEC you're talking about has a plethora of cases in election petitions tribunal, where billions of naira is being spent to be able to defend what they have done. Is that something that can guarantee, if they were to conduct election, would there have been any guarantee, like you're saying? I mean, arising from what we have seen from INEC over the years. I mean, we just saw some seats nullified. In Delta State, it happened. In several other states, in Kaduna State, it happened as well. Yes, Bob Manuel. Okay, let me come back to the studio here, Ambassador St. Michael. Yeah. People are quick to say, look, if we have INEC conducting the election, it probably would have been better, compared to the State Independent Electoral Commission conducting election. Yeah, but we've seen INEC bogged down with a lot of petitions, tribunal hearing,
Hello,
and they're trying to
can you
justify.
hear me?
Okay, yes, you can. Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
now. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's take INEC from 1999 to date. You and I would agree that INEC, you would not forget the era of do or die affair. The election came and they will actually do or die. The 2007 era. Okay. We moved from there on and on. There are no systems without lapses. Yes, okay. The last election, like we all say, there was rigging here, there was rigging here, but nobody have said in my unit there was rigging. Okay. That is not to say that INEC is perfect. No. Okay. But INEC has to work towards it. The INEC is already somewhere that EDSEC has not gotten to. INEC is somewhere that other state bodies have not gotten to. And when we continue in the form that they are now, getting rid of corruption is the major thing. Once that is taken care of, INEC will become a body that will give us a free, fair, credible election. But we have to engineer that process through the court of public opinion, as we are doing today. And then we have men like Mikey Guinea and the rest of them who are bringing in ideas to ensure that the system is not compromised. It's a building process. We will get there. So I think we have much of the story to write about INEC positively, even as we have negatively. But down in the state level, we don't have such. That's why I said from the beginning that we should borrow a leaf from the Kaduna state government. The Kaduna state granted autonomy to her people against other states. Look at the way the local government elections were organized. It was good. Whether you and I agree that it was free, fair, or credible, the point is that there is a system that has been put in place. Others will work upon it, and then it will be fine. We need such in our state, and we've had such opportunity and throw them to the dust. But this opportunity presents itself to Governor Godwin Obaseki led administration, because EdTech is under his direct control, to use this as a springboard for future election, that this is how local government election should be. Don't forget, local governance is the most important aspect of governance anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. As Nigeria is concerned, for Nigeria to get to where she wants to be, we have to pay critical attention to revamping the local government system of governance, and that is where we go. And for us to do that, we need unbiased umpire. We need to start from somewhere. We don't just go to the garage and bring somebody, rig the election for the person, and then you expect a rigged process to produce something meaningful. Albeit, some of them who really have interest of the people at heart go a long way to ensure that they deliver the promises of their campaign. We can actually achieve this. I still believe that INEC is growing, and we'll get to that point where we all can hit our that we have a very sound electoral umpire or system.
All right, but Mara, I'll pause you there. I'll come back to you in a moment. Mr. St. Michael, this conversation centers on the fact that, if we had INEC conducting local government elections, it would be better. That's because in the past we saw elections conducted by INEC. We saw different political parties coming on board. But since state independent electoral commissions took over, it's always been a one-way traffic, so to speak. But we've seen, INEC too, bogged down with a lot of, petitions, complaints here and there about elections that are not credible, that are not transparent, elections that you cannot really beat your chest and say, for sure, INEC has done well. Isn't that, some sort of a dark point on the CV of INEC, as it were?
I like to adopt the submissions of Bob Manuel Morin, but I will adopt it mutatis mutandis. That is with little modifications and adaptations. I was even a bit mind with my expressions, but the man over there is very, very blank. It shows that he's a political realist. He says it as it is.
Okay.
I agree that if INEC were to be the one to conduct these elections in Edo State, you probably will see Labour picking about 3 to 4 local governments. Edo, for example. In fact, the local government in Benin City, would have been taken by Labour Party. perhaps, somewhere around the Eastern land would have been taken.
What is the basis for this would have been taken submission that you are giving? The election has not been conducted.
If you want to judge the process by the activities leading to the last elections, February is it 23?
Yeah.
2003. You will agree with me that the political consciousness among the youths in the country today has increased, tremendously.
Okay.
Such that the youths are tired, of the two leprous parties, political parties. That's APC and PDP. They are from the same father. They are two Siamese twins. They came from they are like two leprous fingers of a leper. So if we want to adjust the process,
Mr. Maki, that's a bit derogatory. So let's try and be very civil in our language. Yes,
I'm sorry if I'm
yes,
a bit derogatory. But however, the point I'm trying to make is that the people that fall within our age brackets are tired of the two old political parties.
Okay.
You would have seen them, drifting towards, Labour Party, and that would have translated into Labour picking either 3 to 4, local government, in the elections.
Okay.
And if you go to Edo North, there is no way APC wouldn't have picked up to about at least 2 local governments. My own local government, Isako East, would have been taken by APC without missing word, because APC is on ground in those areas, perhaps because of the legacy of the former governor of the state, Comrade Adams Oshomole. Don't forget that he's of the Afema or Isako, tribal extraction, But however, that will not be the case so long as it is ETSEC that will conduct this election. Like Umoren said, it will be 18/18. PDP will pick everywhere. When we say PDP, it's not even the secular PDP. Is it Legacy Party? The Legacy faction is excluded. It is the faction loyal to the governor that will pick everywhere. The result has been written. The result will be written in government house.
But there's no evidence to back that the result has been written, or it will be written.
It is fate accomplished.
But if you say if that's anything that one can take seriously, so what's now the basis of the serious campaigns that we are seeing from the political parties? Yes, the campaign. They are spending monies on billboards, on jingles, on flyers, on mobilization, on logistics. I mean, why don't they just sit down at home, go to the election day, everybody's throws to the field? So why are they campaigning?
If they see that, how would they feed? How would they eat? You have forgotten that politics is a career to some people in Nigeria. It's a profession. Some people are politicians by profession. It is during the season of election, that they get money to feed. They get money to make their ends meet. Political parties have to oil their, political machinery. People who have not been known before, have never been in the political space. This is the time, to project themselves, endear themselves towards, the people in their locality. They want to be popular. They want to be known. For example, in my local government, the man that is being projected, by APC, has not been in Nigeria for a very long time. He just came. We all know that the man is looking for name. He's looking for fame. He wants to be known. He wants to, popularize himself within, the political space of Isako East.
Okay.
What the young man is looking for is no money. He has made some cash across the frontiers of this country.
Okay.
What he wants now is name. That is why he's in this election. Not necessarily because he knows that he's going to win. He knows in his heart of heart that he cannot beat the governor's candidate.
How do you know that he knows in his heart of hearts he can't beat the governor's candidate? What with the fact that
that is because it's
yes.
it's my local government. I have my ear to the ground like Abani.
Okay.
What I don't know about the political space in my local government is not worth knowing.
Okay.
I don't ask questions, I listen.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
You know, even the people following him, his followers know that Sonny Ekpetika cannot win this election.
Okay, let's not make it sound like we're trying to paint somebody who's been out there massively campaigning. We're trying to reduce the political currency of the person. That's the point I'm trying to make. When you say so and so person cannot win the election has not taken place. The man is campaigning, and he has the confidence he will win.
Is it not on Saturday?
His supporters also believe
the
that he will win.
Saturday?
So we'll keep our fingers crossed until after the election. Now let me call to Bob Manuel Moro, who is joining us from Lagos. Bob Manuel, once again, thank you for being a part of this conversation. Well, as we speak, political parties are massively campaigning for their candidates in this election. ETSEC, on their part, they've come out to say that it's not going to be business as usual. They have a mandate to ensure that the election is free, fair, credible, and transparent. Shouldn't we take them by their words? We've seen a semblance of multi-party elections and the results that came forth with Labour Party, for example, getting a senatorial seat in Edo State, in Edo South, to be specific. They also got a member into the State House of Assembly. And we have seen that, multi-party activity, even with the State House of Assembly, where you have PDP, you have Labour Party, you have APC. If we could have that done in the House of Assembly and National Assembly election, can't we replicate that in the local government election? So it gives people that sort of confidence that we are making progress democratically.
Well, that can be achieved. It can be done. But again, I will agree with you. What is constant in life is change. Now, the process that wants to give birth to a change or that wants to give birth to transformation must be wholesome and must be pure and must be something people will have a hope or assurance on. Now, let me give you this. Prior to the 2023 general election, INEC had timetable, and there were time for substitution of names. It therefore means you could win the primary, and somebody else's names could be substituted to go and contest that election.
Okay.
Now, in trying to agree with my brother in the studio,
yeah.
I want to take us back. I think it's a goal.
Oh, we just lost Bob Manuel Moro there. I hope to be able to reconnect with you to ventilate your views on this conversation in a moment. Okay, let's come back to you, St. Michael. We're here now. INEC has given the award. What's your expectations on the part of INEC as far as this election is concerned? I beg your pardon. Talking about the ideal. Talking about the ideal, yes.
Well, ideally, I would have expected the ETSEC, to make use of, the electoral register.
Okay.
Ensure that there are no bypass. Again, they ought to insist on the use of, beavers. To ensure, sanity in the registration process.
Okay.
Those who are not properly registered, will not be eligible, to vote. And once, the votes are fully cast, collation the county should immediately take place at the polling unit. Results declared and transmitted, to, what do you call it now? Their general, portal, where people can access the result real time, before collation begin to take place in the various, collation centers, prelude to the final, declaration of results. that would be the ideal situation. Ceteris paribus. Otis be equal. I expect INEC, ETSEC would follow, that roadmap.
Okay. Okay, if you just join us, it's still TMI, lovely Monday morning, as we look at the countdown to Edo State local government election bid for this Saturday, 2nd of September, across the 18 local government council areas in the state. Already, political parties, beginning with the ruling party in the state, talking about the PDP, as well as other opposition parties, the APC and the Labour Party, are campaigning massively in the build-up to that election. There was a court ruling, I think just a few days ago, on the election. Then the news broke out, oh, the election has been postponed. That is not the case. That matter will be heard by the court, and we'll see what the court has to say. But in the interim, INEC, rather ETSEC, will continue with their plans and with their preparations to ensure that an election that will be well talked about, that will represent them, will come forth. But there seems to be some internal wranglings within the ruling party in the state, talking about the face-off between the governor and his deputy. There's also a story that broke out yesterday on social media, how that the deputy governor tried to greet his boss, as it were,
and he was restrained.
And he was restrained by security officials attached to the governor. And the deputy has come out to say the governor remains his boss, and that he is willing and ready to continue to, work with him until this administration tails out. What's your take on this drama that has been playing out in the last couple of days, and the end doesn't seem to be in sight? Yeah.
Mr. Sonny Duke, I like your choice of word, drama. It is even becoming melodramatic. As a political analyst, as a student of politics, somebody who have been watching the political happenings in the States, we saw this coming. I am not surprised that...
so you're one of those prophets of doom that saw this coming. That's the point you're making.
I'm not surprised that the deputy governor has fallen out with his boss.
Okay.
Both of them were, climbing the overambitious ladder, such that they were willing to throw anybody under the bus just to fester their nets, just to actualize, their political ambition. I knew it would get to a point in time where the deputy would insist, to become the successor of his boss, and the boss rather, would like to, go the opposite direction. I knew once that become the case, there's going to be a SummerSlam.
Like it's playing out now.
Like it's playing out now. It's a Royal Rumble.
Okay.
So what we saw on the social media yesterday, no matter how they try to paint it, it was the case, because I wasn't there, but I had some of my friends who attended, the occasion. They witnessed the situation firsthand, and they told me that that's exactly what played out.
Okay.
The deputy governor, this was his first outing since he came back from his official leave. He has been in the United States, and right at the event there was no particular seat designated, for the deputy governor to sit down, as has been the norm. He had to look for somewhere at the front row to squeeze himself in, and when it was time, for the Thanksgiving proper, he decided to reach out to his boss to go and, perhaps exchange pleasantries, not knowing that his boss had already instructed the DSS aide, to restrain him.
It could have been possible that those security officials acted from their own volition, as it were.
Are you saying that they were afraid that Shaibu could harm his boss? Or he had something on him?
Now, I'm saying, but we have instances, where security details will act from their own volition.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Instances are bound that way.
I know.
And then you have government come later to say, look, whoever did what they did acted on his or her own volition. This was not under the instruction or the directive of so and so. These things happen in Nigeria.
I know security details, could be overzealous.
Exactly
sometimes.
my point. Exactly my point.
However, if the person that was trying to reach out to go and greet the governor was a Mr. Sonny Duke or a Husa Agbolao, and they were restrained in this manner, I would subject myself to this your theory.
Okay.
And postulation.
Okay.
Or reasoning. But being that it is the deputy governor, the 2IC of the governor, if the governor was not around, the deputy governor would have been in charge.
Okay.
He was reaching out to go and exchange pleasantries. And the venue was not an open place. It's in a church. Mr. Sonny Duke, this happened under the nose of God. Are you getting now?
Yes.
Where if we are in the church, ordinarily, we ought to free ourselves.
Okay.
If we have any grudge or malice, we ought to keep it at the doorstep before going in. This is exactly where it played out.
We have seen atrocities committed even within the church. Yes, and what with the fact that there's been this friction between the governor and his deputy, that may have informed the security details decision to say, okay, just hold it there. Yes. I'm just.
You agree that there's friction?
Of course, that's what I call it a drama.
And that
you call it. You said it was melodramatic. Yeah. So
and that friction, led the security details to restrain the deputy governor from
reaching out. That's what I said. That may have led.
Yes,
may have led the security details acting on their own volition to say, look, you can't have this conversation. Or
if that is the case, then it means that there's grudge, in the heart of the boss.
Okay.
Against his deputy, which he may have expressed knowingly or unknowingly, with the knowledge of the security details.
Okay.
And they decide to act, in that manner. Okay. If that is the case, it also means that he's the one that covertly instructed them to act.
Okay, let's quickly talk about what this portends for the party in the local government election. I mean, considering the fact that an election is a contest where you also have other political parties, naturally you should build that alliance and have that cohesion to be able to face your other opponents in the election. But here we have, the party having a challenge based on the face-off between the governor and his deputy. You don't see that as having any implication for the party in the forthcoming local government election, do you?
If this election were to be conducted by INEC,
you're back there again,
or EDSEC is insulated from the complete control of Mr. Governor, I can assure you that this face-off, this impasse, this unnecessary friction would have cost the party in this election, coming up on Saturday. But that will not be the case. I don't see any, colossal, damage or implication, taking place, because the governor is in charge. He's in complete control of EDSEC, and EDSEC are willing and ready, to do the bidding of Mr. Governor. Like I said, it has been my projection. I am repeating it again without any shadow of ambivalence, without messing word, without without making any mistake. It's going to be 18/18.
Okay. Thank you very much. Quickly, the scenario that has played out now, for most analysts, they believe that this is the projections for 2024 in Edo State. That's why we're having all of this drama, playing out, even the conduct of the local government elections that is expected to take place on Saturday. Do you subscribe to this?
It is. Everything you see, taking place between the governor and his 2IC, it is all geared towards 2024. The governor has a different vision, has a different mindset, has a different mission, which is completely at variance with that of his 2IC. It could also it could also be that there may have been some form of political agreements reached between the governor and his 2IC. Perhaps one is no longer honoring it. He has decided to declare a force majeure, a complete force majeure,
okay, on
the political agreement that was reached.
Okay.
And the other decided to deploy the principle, as it is said in our local parlance, the hens.
Please interpret.
The hen says that if I cannot eat it, I will scatter it.
Okay.
Perhaps that is the principle being deployed by one of the dramatists personnel. That's exactly what is playing out now, and this is going to snowball into a bigger fight. As soon as we land in 2024, by January next year, expect this fight that you are seeing now, that is taking place inside the house, we burst into the open, and you see both of them dancing naked in public. That's my projection.
All right, now I want to thank you, Barrister St. Michael Igwalge, for creating the time to be here.
Thank you so much.
And sharing your perspective with us on the expectations from the Edo State local government election bid for this Saturday.